I'll show you how to descend down the mountain into humility. First one is curiosity. Have you heard people who are kind of nosy? They want to know everything. Oh, there's a new neighbor. They want to know what's this neighbor's job, what's this neighbor's new car, what food do they eat, everything about the neighbor. There are people like that, yes. They want to know everything. So that's curiosity. Is there such thing as healthy curiosity? Sometimes, oh, I'm just curious. You want to ask a question because you're curious. Don't get me wrong, there is such thing as healthy curiosity. But it's also quite different when you talk about nosiness. You know, you want to nose into everyone's business. You have to know where to place yourself, you have to know where to... And that's the beginning, because when you have this, when you are this, so curious, what happens is you're actually slowly but surely ascending the mountain of pride. Because you want to know. You want to know everything. The second one is levity of mind. So I will put here, wanting to know everything. Wanting to know things. Have you met people who, they just want to, their mind's so filled with whatever it is that they're interested in. I've had people who I work with who just want to talk about sports all the time. They want to talk about sports. Some people are obsessed with baseball, with basketball, with football, in your case, soccer. The mind is filled with such stuff. You know what I mean? That's levity of mind. Their mind is so preoccupied with whatever it is that they're interested in. And they seem not to care about anything else. These are the people that it's so difficult to talk about Jesus with. Talk about Jesus, they're not interested. They want to talk about sports. They want to talk about celebrities. They want to talk about business. They want to talk about anything but Jesus. Understand? See what I mean? That's this. Levity of mind. This word here, means you go one step further. Now you're very active, proactive with whatever it is that you're interested in. Not only is your mind filled with that, but all your actions and more serious business is only about that. Nothing else. Nothing else. There are people who are interested in cars. And all they want to talk about is cars. They don't want to talk about anything else. And from the time they're up to the time they go back to bed, their mind is always filled with stuff concerning cars. This is, you're acting on it now. Your mind is filled with such. From the time you're up to the time you're back to bed. You know boasting. Boasting is I would say you're not. That's what I call boasting. You're within the confines of your little world, and you're locked in there. You're locked in there. You know, the other weekend I was in a conference, the charismatic conference, and one of the speakers, a priest, was saying, I'm obsessed with Jesus. All I want to talk about is Jesus. I can't talk about anything else, only Jesus. Is that this? Probably not. Probably not. Because if it's about God, you can never get enough of it. If it's about God. I don't care how curious you get. I don't care how much you fill your mind with it and how much you act on it. There's one famous church father who said, in fact, it was Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas said, if you can explain it, it's not God. That's profound. If you can explain it, it's not God. In other words, St. Thomas Aquinas says, our puny minds can never grasp fully God. Within the confines of our limited minds and reasoning prowess, we can only learn as much about God. The reason? Simple. We're limited. God is so vast. God is almighty. Not even close. Next, singularity. You know what happens when you only think about yourself? What would be the effect if all you think about is yourself? What do you think will happen? All you care about is yourself. Your world. Sorry about the limited board, but the big board disappeared. And I don't know where it is. I asked everybody in the building and no one knows. So I have to call the convent and the school maybe tomorrow. Just got some more. As soon as you step into what we call singularity, your mind is limited to that single thing, whatever it is. And guess what happens? Your world has just gotten way smaller. Your horizon is very limited now, because all you know and care about is whatever it is that you're interested in. Not anything else. Not a thing more. One example of this is an obsession. If you get obsessed with something like, did you hear about the young man who shot his mother You know what did the mother do? The mother kept her video games. Because that's all he would do all day long. From the time he's up to the time he's back to bed, all he does is play video games. So the mother kept it, and you know what he did? He shot the mother dead. The world has gotten so small, he couldn't even move around. You understand? What about self-conceit? Overvalue. That's self-conceit. You only value yourself. And have you heard of people, especially those who work? Oh, I'm untouchable. I'm indispensable. The boss cannot live without me. This business will collapse without me. This organization cannot stand without me. You overvalue yourself. Nobody is indispensable. Believe me. If you die, somewhere, somehow, someone will take your place. Maybe there will be some displacement at the beginning, but eventually it will be filled, we'll be back to normal, as if nothing happened. So don't be guilty of self-conceit. Don't think of yourself as super important. You know, many people wallow in their self-importance. That's self-conceit. When you think of yourself as so valuable, you know what happens, right? Pride gets developed. That's why this is climbing up the mountain of pride. And as you can see, as we go down the list here, we're going up and up the mountain. What about presumption? I'm so good, even God will be on my side all the time. I can never make any mistake. What? Presumption. Always. I'm always all right. It's presumption. I can never go wrong. Guess what? If you keep presuming, you just develop so much pride in your heart. Self-justification. I take over. You know, with self-justification, you tell Jesus, we'll move out, move over. I'm taking the seat, I'm taking control, I'm the one in the middle right now. Imagine that, right? That's self-justification. Because over here, as we go down, we move more and more towards the center. You notice here? Self-conceit, presumption. And over here, you finally act on it. You actually occupy the judgment seat. Now you're the one judging. Now you're the one making decisions. Now you're the one who is in control. Not God anymore. But self-justification. So far, so good. Is it clear? The next one is hypocritical confession. This is self-explanatory. The word hypocrisy, if you remember, last year I talked about hypocrisy, and I told you what this word came from. This word hypocrisy is derived from a Greek word meaning actor. You know actor? Those celebrities in Hollywood, they're actors and actresses, right? They play roles which they portray and they look real. That's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means you're acting and you're showing that you are, in fact, you're not. That's an act. That's acting. There are people who want to look rich even if they're not. They live way beyond their means. That's hypocrisy. Some people, they're like sheep, but inside they're actually wolves. The Bible so says. Watch out for these people. They're in sheep's clothing, but inside they're actually wolves, ready to devour and attack. Hypocritical confession. Acting. I have only one small room, so it's just one word. So in one word, it's acting. Do you know that there are people who always think of themselves such a point that first they wallow in their own self-importance, and then they also can resort to self-pity. You know self-pity? Mm-hmm. They just feel sorry for themselves. Just feel sorry for themselves. And that's not good. It's never good. What about revolt? What is revolt? Revolution. Like Mr. Castro. I forgot when it was, 1917? No. 19 something. When was it? The revolution in 59? I remember I was about 48 years old at the time. And there was revolt. This revolt is actually against God. It's against God. You know, this reminds me. I was driving, not here, in another country. And there was so much traffic. There was so much traffic. There's so much congestion. And then after many hours, we were almost over that congestion. And people made a comment, oh, that's why there's so much traffic. Because there are many cops. There are many cops who were directing the traffic. In other words, they were saying, if there are no cops, it would be better. There would be as much congestion. thinking and you actually start pushing God. You actually start pushing God out. That's revolt. It's just like saying, okay, God, I don't need you anymore. I can take care of myself. I can do this on my own. I don't need you. That's revolt. And that's very